Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. DJ Durkin floated this idea out there yesterday afternoon and just wanted to get a vibe of how the Auburn fans felt. And I read through the comment section and I've been on the message boards all day today. And it sounds like a lot of Auburn fans are willing to have this conversation. I'll put my hand up right away and say, is DJ Durkin my number one choice to take over this program? No, probably not. But I'll say this: if Auburn goes out and wins some games in the back half of November, I'd be more than willing to have that conversation. Here's why. Number one, first and foremost, when you evaluate what went wrong during the Hugh Freeze era, number one is the quarterback, right? You just consistently missed at the quarterback position. When you don't have good quarterback play, it's really hard to win in this conference. But number two, what was the second biggest problem we got from Auburn? Just felt like a losing locker room. And I'm not getting up here and calling the players in the locker room losers. I'm talking about this program when the moment was the biggest. They never felt like they were playing their best football. They never felt like they made plays to go out and win football games. I think you put that on Hugh Freeze. But I'll say this: whenever we watched the Auburn defense go out on the football field, felt fundamentally different. That Auburn defense, not only very, very talented, but it felt like it had national championship caliber culture. Who do you credit that to? I think it's unquestionably DJ Durkin. He had a ton of talent, but it fundamentally felt different when Auburn's defense was on the football field as opposed to their offense. And I think you have to tip your cap to DJ Durkin. And I'll say this: if you name, well, not if you've named him the interim head coach. He has the opportunity now to kind of grab a hold of this whole program in the back half of November. If we see this Auburn team turning to a winning football team in the back half of November, you could sell me on the vision. Now, I want to get into the pros and cons, and I want to talk about what would need to happen if DJ Durkin wins. We decide to name him the head coach. What would need to happen around this program for DJ Durkin to have success? Very excited to get into this conversation. I will say this right off the bat, too, because it's really bothering me. Now, I'm on Twitter and I'm looking at these different fans and national media talking heads talk about the Auburn job. And I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. I'm stunned with regards to how many people think this is not an attractive job. When you went out and saw Hugh Freeze he had all the firepower in the world to go get this roster right. And a lot of respects, Hugh Freeze did get this roster right outside the quarterback position. This is an Auburn team that had a chance to win every single game that was on their schedule. And I don't think that's a surprise to Auburn fans because we knew how good this team was. If you're a head coach at a different program and you've gone up against Auburn on the recruiting trail, you've gone up against Auburn in the transfer portal, you know the resources and firepower that is present with this program. I would be stunned if there's not a lot of head coaches that are looking at this job and saying, that's a program where I have a chance to go to the best conference in the sport and compete for not only SEC championships, but national championships. That's the kind of resources and that's the kind of firepower that Hugh Freeze was given. I think it's a much more attractive job than a lot of people think, which kind of relates to this conversation because we're talking about DJ Durkin. That does not mean you don't vet other candidates because you certainly do. But I want to get into this DJ Durkin conversation. Before we do, and as always, to the Auburn fans, number one, let it fly in the comment section. You know, we're 24 hours removed from Hugh Freeze getting fired. Would love to get a little vibe check from the Auburn fans. Secondly, and I'd be out of my mind if I didn't just say a massive thank you to the Auburn fans. This program, even with Hugh Freeze not having success on the football field, has been a blast to talk about in the offseason, what they've done on the recruiting trail, what they did in the portal. The amount of support the Auburn fans showed the whole way was amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into DJ Durkin. And let's talk about the pros. If you were to sell me on DJ Durkin, I think the first conversation is it's really important for these new head coaches to win early. Like, gone are the days where you get 5 years to rebuild a roster and rebuild a program before you have winning expectations. These coaches come in with expectations to win early. Well, who gives you the best chance to win early? I would argue that maybe DJ Durkin's that guy. Because if you look at Auburn in 2026 and say, if this team's winning a lot of football games in 2026, who's it coming from? It's this Auburn defense. The amount of young talent at all three levels this defense has, it's elite. It's going to be an elite unit if they can keep it together in 2026. Well, the question I would ask is, hey, who is the head coaching candidate that gives you the best chance to keep it all together? It's unquestionably DJ Durkin. These players very clearly love playing defense for DJ Durkin. And so if you were to make DJ Durkin your full-time head coach going into 2026, I feel really good about Auburn trotting out one of the best defenses in the SEC in 2026. That'd be huge. What would need to happen if you did decide to go with DJ Durkin? That's the second part of the conversation. I think another one of those benefits is if you wanted to go out and get Lane Kiffin, you would have to pay Lane Kiffin upwards of $11+ million, right? A year. For DJ Durkin, $5 to $6 million. You cut that annual salary that you would have to give to a guy like Lane Kiffin, you cut it in half. What's that mean? Number one, you don't expose yourself to a massive buyout. But more importantly than that, you got a lot of money to hire a dynamite staff around him. You got a lot of money to allocate into building this roster. And I'll say this, DJ Durkin taking over as a head coach, feel very confident that the defense is going to be really damn good under DJ Durkin. Now the question is, can we figure out the offense? You got all the firepower in the world to go and get a dynamite offensive coordinator. You got all the firepower in the world to go hit on a quarterback. Now, that quarterback could be Deuce Knight next year, or that quarterback could come from the transfer portal. I'll say this about that. There's a lot of good offensive coordinators that are going to be on the market that have young quarterbacks that are on their team, right? It's a very similar situation to what you saw with Ben Arbuckle going to Oklahoma and bringing John Mateer. It is not very hard to flip a side of the football in one offseason. You saw Oklahoma, I don't know if they've fully done it, but they're pretty damn close. It's much better than it was the year before. If you go get a guy like DJ Durkin, give yourself the resources to bring in a dynamite offensive coordinator with maybe a dynamite quarterback, and that there's a pathway to Auburn winning a lot of football games immediately in 2026, because we know this defense is going to keep us in every single game next year. If you go out and get DJ Durkin, if you retain that defense that Auburn has. Now, am I getting up here and banging the table for DJ Durkin? I'm not sure. Because number one, I got to see him go win football games and show that he's a winning interim head coach before I want to go out and hire him. Number two, I still think this is a very attractive job. And I think there's going to be a lot of head coaches that are interested. Y'all know how I feel about Jeff Brohm. I think Jeff Brohm would be absolutely dynamite. I think John Sumrall would be a very good hire too. There are a lot of really quality hires out there for Auburn. Don't let anybody tell you that the coaching pool is dry, because it ain't. There's a lot of coaches that I could see winning at Auburn. DJ Durkin very much could be one of them if he shows us the back half of November that he can win as the head guy in the month of November. You retain this defense next year, this team can win a lot of games. There ain't no question about it. And I think DJ Durkin allows you to do that. We'll continue to update this conversation as it goes on. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.